Good evening, everyone. I am Scott Wiener. I have the honor of representing San Francisco and northern San Mateo County in the California State Senate, and also the honor of serving as the chair of the California Legislative LGBTQ Caucus. We are the LGBTQ members of the California legislature, and we fight hard every day for our community and to make sure that we are represented. And welcome to our virtual Pride celebration for 2020. This is not our typical Pride year. We, of course, went into this year thinking that we were going to do what we always do as a caucus, which is to have a celebration on the floor of the Assembly and the Senate, honoring amazing LGBTQ community leaders from around the state, followed by a fun party to celebrate Pride at the governor's mansion with the governor and his family. COVID-19 had something to say about that, and so this year we're unable to have this celebration in person. And that was disappointing for all of us, but we decided we were going to make the best of it in our new virtual world, where frankly you can sometimes reach more people who can't travel all the way to Sacramento. But then we had something happen, which was the really explosively rising and increasing awareness in a really positive way about the severe racism and racial injustice in this country, which was triggered by some horrific murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, and which was long overdue. And so the protests and the just amazing engagement of people in many, many communities to try to tackle and to put an end to systemic racism has given renewed meaning to Pride, because we know that Pride started as a riot at Stonewall Inn, as well as Compton's Cafeteria and the Black Cat, and that Pride itself started as a protest. And so we are getting back to our roots of demanding through Pride that we end systemic racism, homophobia, transphobia, and every other kind of hatred and bias. And so welcome to our virtual Pride. I now want to introduce the amazing vice chair of our caucus, Assemblymember Todd Gloria from the great city of San Diego.
Thank you, Senator, and good evening, everyone. I am so glad to welcome you all. I want to thank our chair, Senator Scott Wiener, for his incredible leadership of our caucus, and just agreeing to everyone who's watching us on the live stream, through the web, and elsewhere. We have a great group of amazing Californians that we want to honor with you all this evening. And we'll get to them in just a moment. As our chair mentioned, we're not celebrating quite the way we normally do. We hope this actually is going to be fun, though, and we've put together a great video, which I'm going to introduce in just a moment. But as the senator says, normally this is done on the Capitol floor, and then we recess into the governor's mansion. Sorry to say, you're recessing to my mansion, which is a one-bedroom apartment in the Mission Hills neighborhood in San Diego. Not quite the governor's mansion, but hopefully a little more intimate this year. So I want to start by acknowledging the fact that we have the largest LGBTQ legislative caucus in the country. And we're joined by almost all of our members this evening. And I want to give a shout out to our state insurance commissioner, Ricardo Lara. He's waving. I don't know if y'all can see the wave, but you will hear from him shortly. He is a history-making individual. You may know he is the first statewide LGBTQ elected official in California. We are so proud of him, and you'll be hearing from him in a moment. Our Senate President Pro Tem, Toni Atkins, the first out and first woman leader of our state Senate, is with us. We're so proud of her and her history-making service. We are also joined by our former chair, Evan Lowe, Assemblymember Evan Lowe from the Silicon Valley, as well as the pride of our caucus, our new baby mama, proud mom to new triplets. Can you imagine a state legislator, a trailblazing Latina LGBTQ elected, and now just a mom of triplets? My God, Sabrina Cervantes, everybody. You're going to hear from her in a moment. And then, not to be overlooked, our incredible senator in her final year in the legislature. We're so proud of Kathleen Galgiani, Senator Galgiani from the Central Valley. Kathleen, we're glad to have you And we will not be able to be joined tonight by Assemblymember Susan Eggman, who had a conflict, but we know she's here in spirit. We just wish she was here because she's by far the funniest member of our caucus, and we wish that she was here to spice up our celebration. So with no further ado, we are going to move into a video, and I want to thank the Senate Majority Caucus who helped us prepare this video to help explain why we have chosen the following honorees to be this year's Pride honorees. And I also want to thank our LGBT caucus staff, Sevi Christensen and Alina Hernandez, both of whom have worked very hard to repurpose what is normally an in-person session to a virtual session. So without any further ado, let me introduce our video, which will introduce our honorees. And then on the other side, we will introduce you personally to each of our honorees. So Director, please take it away. Show out the video.
Welcome to the California Legislative LGBTQ Caucus's 2020 Virtual Pride Celebration.
I want to thank you all for joining us today as we honor this caucus's 2020 Pride Month honorees.
I just want to thank all of you for the recognition of incredible work that you have done to advance the cause of equality in this state, in this nation, and for that matter, the world.
We wish we could be with you in person, celebrating in the Capitol and at the Governor's Mansion, but we also want everyone to stay healthy so we can celebrate in person next year.
This year's Pride Month comes during a challenging time in our nation's history.
2020 has been a hard year.
We find ourselves in the midst of three crises: a public health crisis, an economic crisis, and a social crisis. All of them deserve our focus and our attention. But right now, our Black community particularly needs our solidarity and our support.
We have a lot more work to do.
But working together, we will get through this difficult time, and we will come out of it strong, living in a more just and equitable world.
Harvey Milk once said that by electing gay people to office, it gives a green light to all who feel disenfranchised, a green light to move forward. It means hope to a nation that has given up, because if a gay person makes it, the doors are open for everyone. That is our charge in this moment. As a caucus, as a community, as allies, we must stand for our Black community.
Pride is a celebration, but it started as a protest, fueled by riots against police brutality. Let's always remember these roots as we stand in solidarity with our Black brothers and sisters and fight for that better world. Happy Pride, everyone. Let's make it a memorable one. Let's celebrate and let's protest.
California's Legislative LGBTQ Caucus was formed in 2002 to create a forum for California legislators to discuss issues that affect LGBTQ Californians and to further the goal of equality and justice for all Californians. California was the first state in the country to form an official caucus of openly LGBTQ state legislators. An LGBTQ caucus priority is advocating for diversity and inclusion of all people, especially the most marginalized populations. Each year, the California legislature celebrates the month of June as LGBTQ Pride Month. After the passage of AB 2969 by Assemblymember Evan Lowe in 2018, the governor now officially proclaims every June Pride Month in California. Traditionally, the California Legislative LGBTQ Caucus invites honorees to a day-long celebration that includes a special floor ceremony during the California State Assembly and Senate floor sessions. During the ceremony, the honorees are presented with a resolution in commemoration of their accomplishments and their contributions to the LGBTQ community.
Hi, my name is Jeff Heine. I'm Executive Director of the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus, and my pronouns are he, him, and his.
Hi, I'm Tanya Saracho, and my pronouns are she, hers.
My name is Rebecca Rolfe. My pronouns are she, her, or they, them.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Woods, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
My name is Andrea Myerson, and my pronouns are she and her.
My name is Pete Buttigieg. Most people just call me Mayor Pete. Officially Peter Paul Montgomery Buttigieg, and I use he, him pronouns.
My name is Georgette Gomez, Council President of the City of San Diego. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Pride. I'm Brett Andrews. I'm the CEO of PRC, and I am proud to have served in that role for the last 17 years.
I took on the role of executive director of the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus, first of all, because I knew about them. They have quite a reputation in other parts of the country with the LGBT choral movement. I was executive director of the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus for 11 years prior to coming here, and just through that job, I naturally had learned of San Diego and all the incredible work they were doing here.
Well, it happened really fast, but that's only because it was an assignment. Stars, the network, brought me in and they said, they asked me if I was interested in doing a show about gentrification, millennial Latinas in the east side of LA. And I said yes right away. And then I went about crafting the story. So, you know, the queerness came because of me. Of course, it was going to go in there. My only guidelines were gentrification, chipsters, millennial females, east side of LA. And then everything else just sort of came through the alchemy of creation, you know?
I learned activism at home from my parents, from the family I grew up in. I really learned a deep sense of social justice, of commitment to really making life better for the next generation. I see that my siblings and I have really looked to work to advance that agenda, to really understand what that means for us, for our generation, and really to pave the way for the next generation. We now see the next generation, and I think this is true in many families and certainly in our community, the next generation is really picking that up and moving that forward and taking that to places that, you know, we only dreamed of when I was growing up. And I anticipate and I hope that that will continue to be true for every generation to come.
I came out publicly as a trans woman 31 years ago. It was June of 1989 in San Francisco, and it was at the height of the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Not a great time to transition. I joined the Imperial Court, one of the largest organizations in the country. So about 6 months later, we moved to Alameda County, and I was on stage raising money and awareness for our few AIDS service organizations that we had at that time.
I founded Women on a Roll in 1995. It was born from the desire to connect with community in venues other than the bar scene and the softball field. I had been married before to a man, so coming out of living a heterosexual lifestyle, I was a little perplexed. I just didn't understand why I couldn't enjoy the same quality of life I knew as a heterosexual woman just because I loved women. I started a bicycle club, hence the name Women on a Roll. And I kept offering these bike rides, and in doing so, I would always offer an opportunity to socialize, breakfast or lunch or a picnic. So I started offering events, and they grew. December of 1995, I threw my first holiday party, and we had over 200 women. It just kept snowballing, and it hit a chord, I think, in the community. Yeah, why can't we have fun? Why can't we go to theater? Why can't we have upscale dinner parties and dance parties? And soon after that, I started offering travel. And within a few years, I was taking women traveling all over the world.
I grew up in a household that was very politically conscious, but never politically connected. So it took me a little while to figure out that I could be directly involved in political change, not just as an observer or a citizen, but somebody rolling up my sleeves and personally being involved. But by the time I got to college, I saw all the different ways to volunteer for causes and campaigns that I believed in. I don't think I ever would have guessed that my first time running for office would be for state treasurer here in Indiana. It's not an office I was even aware of growing up, but I saw some very important things that were going on there, things I thought needed to be different, and ran my first race with no name recognition, not a lot of resources, but a message I believed in. And even though I didn't make it in that race, I learned so much about myself, about my state, and about how to make change as a political candidate.
I challenged myself. I made a decision to run for city council. I wasn't supposed to win that campaign. I was the outsider. I got spent 3-1, but my heart for the community my heart for believing that our local government can be better, more inclusive, really was to drive in making sure that we build a strong grassroots campaign, one that led to success. I was successful in winning my campaign, but I didn't do it alone. I was able to earn early the endorsement of our trailblazer here in San Diego, Christine Kehoe, was a huge supporter of my campaign. Following was our state senator, Tony Atkins, who came in early as an endorser. And then also my good friend, my colleague, our state assembly member, Todd Gloria.
I got into this work years ago. I've been an executive director for 29 years. I started off in youth services, and frankly, I fell into it by accident. I was working in financial services in an HR department, and I wasn't completely happy, and I was volunteering my time in New York and at a great organization called Kids and Youth, sponsored by Michael Kors. And I fell in love with the work. It was a passion for me, and it remains a passion for me to support our youth. And there was an executive director transition, and Michael Kors came to me and asked me if I would step in an interim role, and I did. And I didn't know what I didn't know, and I asked him for the job, and he gave it to me. And from that point on, I've been in nonprofit work and have been gratified to be a part of it.
Because our very existence depends on having our voices heard and centered at every leadership table. Without leadership positions, we will continue to be marginalized, suffer discrimination, stigma, poverty, be killed, and erased in our own LGBT communities and society, now more than ever. Black and brown, trans and gender non-binary siblings and community especially.
San Diego Gay Men's Chorus is 35 years old. We started in 1985. And one immediate thing that comes to mind in terms of what's different is that we weren't out back in 1985. We were the San Diego Men's Chorus. If you look back at some of our oldest concert programs, when you see the page of the roster of all the singers, some of the singers asked to be listed as anonymous because they weren't out and they feared for what could happen to them personally, to their jobs, to their friends and family, if they were out and singing in the chorus. And also, especially during that time, like many choruses that formed during that time, we were a response to the AIDS crisis. We were a voice where we felt as a community no one was listening to us or hearing us. We rose in song to tell our stories.
It is imperative. It is almost a radical thing to put ourselves on screen, on stage, as fully fleshed, complicated, flawed beings, you know? If not, it's erasure. Because for so many decades, we don't get the chance to tell our stories, and our stories are important. The contributions of brown queers to society are important, and we seldom see those, and the contribution to culture, you know. And I think I hope that Vida does that a little bit, at least shed light a little bit on a community that is intersectional and complicated, and traditional, you know. But you know, it shows how we coexist. It's imperative that we have narratives helmed by us out there. If not, we're going to be getting our stories told by the dominant culture that doesn't have skin in the game, you know?
Really, the answer to my inspiration is the folks that I work with every single day. They're the folks who come to volunteer with us. They're the folks who show up for services. The creativity, the passion, the commitment, the brilliance, the insight, the incredible generosity of people sharing their experiences, their ideas, their thoughts, their hopes, their passions. That is really, I think, the magic of community. I think together, when we come together as community, we can solve problems, we can create changes that would be absolutely impossible for any individual. And for me, that is my passion.
Ellen DeGeneres came out and Rosie O'Donnell came out. And the whole world acted like they were the only two out lesbian comics. And of course we know that wasn't true. I decided I was going to pay tribute to who I considered were the pioneers of being out lesbian comics. Kate Clinton, Karen Williams, Margaret Gomez, and Suzanne Westenhofer. I wanted to do a documentary profiling them and really paying tribute to them for being so brave and courageous at a time when it wasn't easy to do so. It was so meaningful to me to be able to tell their stories and have it mean so much to so many. And then, I got the bug. And I think I did a total of 22 stand-up comedy specials for Logo.
The LGBTQ plus community is one of the most internally diverse minorities in the world. We comprise people of every race and creed and generation and ability. And we can reach across so many boundaries with the sense of solidarity that we have as a community. Isn't that needed more than ever at a time like this, when our country is facing enormous struggles with racial justice and so many connected struggles and intersectional struggles for equality? Every time an out-elected representative succeeds in gaining a seat at the table, it makes a difference for so many people. And this is a moment to reflect on how far we have to go, but how much we've been able to achieve.
To me, my drive is making sure that we are addressing equity in our society, making sure that we're building a more inclusive society, both at any level of government, whether it be local, state, or federal. Government has a strong impact on how people live, or not. And I come from humble beginnings. My immigrant parents, they struggled, and they worked really hard. I grew up in a very humble home. At times, I didn't even have a house. We had to double up with another family. Our home was the living room for a family of 5. So if you can imagine growing up in that type of environment, that definitely was an inspiration for me to strive better. But it wasn't to strive better for myself, it was to strive better for others.
As I think about where we are and the importance of this work, I think about being an African American man, what we're facing in terms of the social unrest, the police brutality, the history of discrimination and racism that we're facing. I want to put a word out to those who are in the work that look a lot like me, and this word that we often use that are called allies. And you can certainly be an ally, and I would say that would be the least of it. I think the highest and greatest and noble honor is to be a fellow human being. And I've often said that if you saw a child in need, you would not necessarily need to be their ally. You would be a fellow human being, understanding that that child was in desperate need, and if you were there to offer support, you would do that.
I'm just very grateful to the California LGBTQ caucus for seeing me fully, my brown queerness, and really for seeing Vida. I think that that's what this recognition is for. At least that's how I'm taking it, for being allowed to create the space where it was an all Latinx writers room, all Latina this past season, half queers and queer editors and queer cinematographers, queer actors. It was a very inclusive space, and I was blessed to be allowed to create it. And so I am accepting that in the name of Vida. But it's a huge honor because, anytime you're fully seen, it's an honor, and I'm very grateful.
It is an absolute honor for the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus to have been chosen as an honoree. Of course, it's always nice to win something, right? But I think the best way I can answer the question of what does it mean to us is this. I mentioned earlier that what brought me to the chorus was the work that they do, its mission, and its values. But what I didn't anticipate was the strength of the LGBTQ community in San Diego, how vibrant, how active, how authentic of a community it is. So as I recognize this great honor, I have to acknowledge the support and the strength of the LGBTQ community here in San Diego, because they make it easier for us to do our work and fulfill our mission. I like to think of us as helping to provide the soundtrack to the movement, to the struggle, the successes, the setbacks, the hopes, and the dreams of the LGBTQ community. Being an honoree recognizes our work, and therefore it also recognizes the work of the greater community here, and I am deeply appreciative of this recognition.
Being a 2020 Pride honoree is incredibly meaningful to me, and I think in this year in particular, it is so important that we look to the roots of Pride. Those roots really took place in a place of rebellion and a resistance to police violence, to the ways that our community was treated as less than, kept on the outside. I think we need to honor the legacy of the leaders of those early movements who are primarily transgender women of color. Those folks really paved the way for us. I think we need to really honor, call out, name their legacy, the folks who really created Compton's and Stonewall and really paved the way for the path that we continue on today.
It's very humbling, and it's an amazing affirmation that trans lives matter, we are valued, and that the work we do within and for our communities is seen and creates change. Representation matters.
Well, it's humbling. It means a great deal. It puts into perspective the idea that I'm part of a tradition, that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, that people of such extraordinary moral and political and physical courage came before me and made it possible for me to step forward. And it motivates me to do everything I can to try to help clear a path for those who are coming next. So I recognize that Pride is a tradition of celebration, but also of struggle. And this is a time to recommit ourselves to that struggle. I thank you for this recognition, and I thank you for what you're doing to let others know that they are not struggling alone.
How is this award different? The California State Legislative LGBTQ Caucus Honoree Award differ from other awards I've gotten? It is the longest named award I've ever gotten. But it's a true honor, because to receive something from the state legislation, I mean, like, that is, I'm honored. It's just beyond anything I could hope for. And I'm really grateful. And I will continue to do this work.
I will leave you with this. This award and this recognition is so important to me because we often do the work that is downstream of legislation and public policy. So to know that the California Legislative LGBTQ Caucus is giving me this award lets me know that you care about the work that we're doing, you're receptive to it, you understand that there are conditions on the ground that change constantly, and you are open and willing to hear that and certainly be an advocate to help shape health policy and civil policies that will address the needs of our community.
I really want to thank the state legislative LGBT caucus for choosing me to be honored. To be honored by your peers, they recognize the work that one is doing. And to me, that's really important, because the work that we've been doing is not to get recognition, but it's important because it's about inclusion. It's about making sure that we are addressing the inequalities that we have in the city and at the state, and to be honored, it's honoring that work.
We know that Pride will look different this year. We know that Pride will feel different this year. But we must remember that our pride, as queer people, goes far beyond parades, festivals, and marches. Our pride is defined by who we are, the bonds we share, the progress that we have made. Undoubtedly, there is more work to do, not just for us, but for others. But we remain in this together. Let's continue to move forward. Let's continue to stand up and to speak out. Let's continue to be proud. Happy Pride.
Okay, wonderful video. I really want to again thank our caucus staffers, Sevi and Alina, as well as the Senate Majority Caucus staff for putting together a truly amazing video. So thank you. And you can see the honorees that we've selected this year represent an awesome cross-section of our community, and each and every one of them is just a stellar leader in their own community. So congratulations to all. So now we're going to start individually recognizing each of these great leaders, and one of the members of the caucus will present each one. We will then hear brief remarks from these leaders. So I get to start with one of my absolute favorite people in the world, Rebecca Rolfe, who is the executive director and has been for 13 years of the San Francisco LGBT Community Center. Rebecca has about 35 years of experience in community leadership and activism, and she just brings tremendous strength and skill and spirit to the job. I have known Rebecca for almost 20 years because I was on the board of directors of our LGBT Community Center that we had just built because San Francisco did not have one, and we opened it in 2002. And then we hired Rebecca as our interim finance director, and I think it was going to be just a short little stint for her. She was, had just left Women Against Rape. She was the executive director there for a long time. Was going to take a brief stint as our interim finance director, and almost 2 decades later, here she is as the executive director. She has shown such extraordinary leadership running the center and has transformed it. It's gone through some good times and some rocky times, but always under her strong leadership. And the center right now is in incredibly strong shape. Under her leadership, the center has become a leader in San Francisco in providing services to our at-risk and homeless youth, as well as to our trans community, to LGBTQ families, and to so many other people who are in need of support and services in our community. Rebecca lives in San Francisco with her partner Susan Mooney and her 2 dogs, Jack and Fergus. So Rebecca, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being amazing, and congratulations on this recognition.
Thank you so much. It is just such an honor to be recognized by the California LGBTQ Caucus and to be here with so many amazing and incredible leaders, both from the caucus and also from the community. I think the caucus members spoke really strongly and powerfully to this moment that we are in and the need to really connect to our roots and the way that Pride really grew out of resistance to violence. And I would say, to add to that, what Pride has come to symbolize is really an ability to celebrate our resilience, celebrate our strength, to really come together and recognize each other and the powerful connections that we make when we come together, and to take all of that and really double down on this is an opportunity now to take, we have a moment in history when we can really move the dial on racial justice and move the dial on equity, and really ensure that both within our LGBTQ queer communities and within the broader community that we are really focusing on prioritizing and putting first, foremost, front and center racial justice and equity. So thank you so much. It's just a pleasure to be here with all of you today. And my hat is off to the incredible friends and partners who are also being honored this year. And just it's just an incredible honor. So thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Congratulations on your award. It is now my pleasure to be able to introduce our next honoree. And I could go on all day, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay on script because I know I speak for my senator when I say that we are major fans of San Diego City Council President Georgette Gomez. Let me tell you a little bit about her and be efficient with the time so that she gets all the time that she's entitled to speak. But Council President Georgette Gomez is the daughter of working class immigrants and found her passion for working for a better society at an extremely early age. She is a proud graduate of San Diego State University, and she has dedicated her work to strengthening communities. Council President Gomez assumed office on the San Diego City Council on December 12th, 2016, becoming the first queer Latina elected to serve on the San Diego City Council. In January 2018, she was elected the chair of the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System. She is the first woman to hold that position ever. And in December 2018, and again on December 2019, she was elected by her peers in a unanimous bipartisan vote as the San Diego City Council president. A co-equal branch of government. It puts her on the same scale as the mayor of San Diego. And she does this job exceptionally well. As council president, she is committed to creating a local government that is equitable, inclusive, transparent, and accountable, all things that are critically important during these difficult times. She is dedicated to creating a strong council form of government and supporting her colleagues on the council to make real change for the people of my hometown of San Diego. Please do me the honor of giving a warm round of applause, either in person or virtual, to our City Council President and one of our Pride 2020 honorees, my dear friend, Georgette Gomez.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Assemblymember Todd. And I'm extremely excited and I'm very humble to be here sharing this cyberspace with all of you. Amazing people that are doing amazing work to really improve our society. And I was just reflecting on how far I've come as my beginning work was a community organizer, a public advocacy advocate, really pushing on government to do the right thing for our communities, fighting for environmental justice, for economic justice. And that really comes from, because of my roots. Immigrant, daughter of immigrant parents, first generation Mexican American that grew up in San Diego and has made San Diego her home, and will continue to be proud of San Diego and the city that we're making, and that we'll continue to lift to ensure that it does become the city that we want to see and we're proud of. So this is a really amazing time for me. It's really interesting that 2020 has become an interesting year for all of us doing the work, whether it being nonprofit work or being political work as government leaders. But it really is a moment, a year of really challenging us and making sure that we're doing our best. We're bringing our best self to our work and making sure that we are digging deep to the roots of that have created a society that we're seeing the bubbling, the eruption of all the inequities that we have in our society. And we have a lot of work to do, but none of it is work that cannot be done. All of this inequities were created by humankind. So it is time that we really paid real attention to these challenges and try to move them forward. So as a queer brown woman representing the city of San Diego, a daughter of immigrant parents that came here undocumented, that brought 2 kids that were also undocumented, we have a lot of work. And I say that because our immigrant community continues to live in the shadows, continues to be misused and abused by a lot of workforce. And we definitely have a lot of work to do. Our trans community is coming as exhaling their country because they're afraid of their lives, and they're being welcomed at the border in a inhumane way. And we have a lot of kids from our community, our LGBTQ community, living in the streets because they're still getting rejected by their families. But the fact is that they're still living in the streets, unsafe, unhealthy. So we have a lot of work to do. I'm constantly reminding myself of the work that we need to do. But at this moment, I'm very proud to be honored. I'm very proud to be recognizing the work that we've been doing and really lifting our community. So thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to our State Senator Pro Tem Tony Atkins. I don't know if our amazing trailblazer Christine Kehoe is somewhere here, but definitely gotta recognize the work that they've been doing, and Todd, the work that you all have been doing and helping me, mentoring me to be the best self that I can be. So thank you so much. I'm extremely honored, and just thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Georgette. I'm Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara. Go Aztecs. I'm so proud of the amazing work that you're doing in San Diego and really representing us Latino, queer people so well. in my second favorite city in the world, San Diego. Now it's time to honor an amazing trailblazer who has flawlessly captured the intricate, complex story of our queer Latino community that is really representative of our entire experience, whether it's immigrant, trans, queer, gender, non-binary, you name it. This woman was able to capture all the love, the drama, the chisme that entails in our community. And to finally see myself in this beautiful story and series that was produced in East LA, Boyle Heights, at a time, I wish, every time I have people watch the series Vida on Stars, I say, you're gonna see ourselves, you're gonna see what we wanted to see when we were growing up in the east side of LA. And to have it be created by such an amazing, talented woman is such an honor for me today to represent and to present to you all. Tanya Saracho is a playwright and television writer who serves as creator, showrunner, executive producer of the critically acclaimed series Vida on Stars. The series had an all Latinx writers for season 1 and 2. And in season 3, as she said earlier, it was comprised of all Latinas. When do we see this or hear this ever? Named one of the TV scribes to watch by Variety in 2018, Saracho most recently received the Rising Star Award at the Outfest Legacy Awards and was also awarded the New Voice Award by Final Draft. Vida also won the GLAAD Media Award for Outstanding Comedy Series and was nominated for a second year in a row for season 2 and was honored by the National Hispanic Media Coalition with the 2019 Impact Award. The series won the Audience Award at the 2018 South by Southwest Film Festival and made its season 2 premiere as an official selection of the 2019 Tribeca Film Festival. Saracho was named Best New Playwright by the Chicago Magazine back in our hometown and has had plays produced at New York City's primary stages and second stage. Saracho also won was named one of the 9 national Latino luminaries by Café Magazine and received the first Revolucionario Award in theater by the National Museum of Mexican Art. She was born in Los Mochis, Sinaloa, Viva Sinaloa, and raised along the Texas border, spending the better part of her adult life in Chicago. She currently is one of our angels here in the City of Angels. Please help me in inviting Tanya Saracho to give her acceptance speech as we honor her today. Congratulations, Tanya.
So sadly, apparently Tanya's computer appears to have died in the middle of Commissioner Lara's very eloquent remarks. I'm sure she'll go back and listen to it later. And when she's able to rejoin, we will have her give her acceptance then. So Tanya, we hope you come back soon. So now we'll turn it over to Senator Kathleen Galgiani for our next award recipient.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations again to Tanya Saracho. I am so pleased to be able to honor my dear friend, Andrea. I've been so fortunate to enjoy good times with her on Women on a Roll and some of our travels together, and I've seen the wonderful work that she's done and the patience that she's had with putting together the groups of women from diverse backgrounds and making us all feel welcome and enjoying what she has been able to put together for us. So it is an honor to recognize all of her accomplishments. She's an award-winning creator of film, television, programming, and live productions. And as founder and president of Standout Productions, she's produced and directed over 30 films and television specials with LGBTQ content, which have aired on Showtime, Logo, Netflix, and several Canadian networks as well. In 2002, Andrea produced and directed her first film, the award-winning documentary Laughing Matters, and has since completed 9 feature documentaries about LGBTQ people and events. And since founding Standout Productions in 1997, she has staged live events featuring some of the country's best known entertainers. She has served as a programmer and consultant for many LGBTQ film festivals and curates a lesbian short film program annually. Before beginning her filmmaking career, Andrea spent nearly a decade producing fundraisers for LGBTQ nonprofits, and she's raised over $2 million for community organizations. She was the first openly gay recipient of the YWCA's Women of Achievement Award in Arts and Entertainment. And in June of 2019, the Hollywood Women's Film Festival honored her with the Dorothy Arzner Award for LGBTQ Impact in Film. The catalyst for Andrea's body of work began in 1995 when she founded Women on a Roll. Her grassroots bicycle club has since evolved into one of the country's largest social organizations for lesbians. Please help me give a warm welcome and invite Andrea Myerson to give her acceptance remarks. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Senator Galgiano. I am extremely humbled, and I'm still searching for the right words to express my gratitude for this recognition. It's such a privilege to be sharing this award with the other honorees here today. I am so moved and impressed by all of your work. This award comes at a milestone time for me. Women on a Roll is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. On August 5th, 1995, 40 women joined me for our first Women on a Roll bike ride, a ride which has forever changed my life. I could never have imagined that starting a bicycle club for women would have led me to become a filmmaker telling LGBTQ stories. But the joy and fulfillment I found in serving this community guided me to that. And I am full of gratitude every day to have discovered my life's calling, and in doing so, make a difference in some way. I'd like to thank so many of my dear friends and those who have supported my work, and many of whom I've met through Women on a Roll, including you, Senator. Many of them are here with us or watching virtually. And I just want to thank all of these women and all of these individuals for their kind support and encouragement and lifting me along the way. It means everything to me, and I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. My sister, Barbara, who's watching, you are the best sister ever, but more importantly, you're the best ally ever. I love you so much. And of course, to my wonderful wife, Maureen, my rock, truly my rock. Thank you, my love, for always believing in me. Even when you don't, you do. Even when I have to convince you, you are always there to lift me. And I love you so much for that. So yesterday was Father's Day, and I'd like to dedicate this honor to my amazing father, one of the most amazing men that have ever walked the face of this earth. Although he's no longer with us physically, he taught me by example about giving to others and about making a difference. Love you, Dad. The California Legislative LGBT Caucus is at the forefront of ensuring LGBT equality, and it is the leader in the country in doing this important work. Your staff, your work truly makes me feel proud and so lucky to be living in this state. And to be receiving this award from you is an incredible honor. The important work you do inspires me to do more to create opportunities within our community, to ensure our stories are told and shared, and to make sure our voices are heard. I thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I am truly moved beyond words. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Andrea. And from myself and my wife, Mary Lou Echternock, we love you and couldn't be more honored to give this recognition to you that is so very deserving. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Assemblymember Evan Lowe, to introduce his honoree.
Hello, everyone. Happy Pride to so many of you. Greetings from pulling over on the road as I'm driving back to the district right now. So it's wonderful to see all of you. And again, to the honorees, congratulations. Let us continue the amazing work that we have collectively. We could not do this without you. Our next honoree is none other than Pete Buttigieg, who many of you know as Mayor Pete. He is the two-term mayor of South Bend, and as many of you know, that he is deeply committed as a patriot as well. In fact, he left and took a leave of absence to deploy to Afghanistan to ensure that he also answered the call to service in defending our country. He has also made history with this previous presidential election cycle that we are currently also headed into the general election, by being the first openly LGBTQ person to ever win a presidential caucus. So we know that he has continued to lay the foundation for so many following in those footsteps, and we know many will continue to follow as well. So again, to Mayor Pete, thank you so very much for answering the call to service. We look forward to the continued partnership. You will have many friends here on the West Coast and in the state of California, and we look forward to your continued advocacy. So again, thank you for being a history maker and being recognized by the California LGBTQ Legislative Caucus. So next up, let's hear from another trailblazer and another history maker, none other than our very own Senate Pro Tem, Toni Atkins.
Well, thank you, Assembly Member, and congratulations to everyone. We are so thrilled to be able to honor you today. And, you know, I have the honor of recognizing and introducing the director, Jeff Heine, of the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus. I got to San Diego in 1985, fresh off the boat from Southwest Virginia. And I feel like we arrived in San Diego together. The chorus has been an integral part of my life in San Diego, but a part of the LGBTQ community. Under, of course, the artistic director, R.C. House, and of course, you've heard from our executive director, Jeff Heine, 35 years. It's one of the largest choruses I think you heard in the world, has sung at locations including the White House during better days, of course, the Super Bowl, and the Lincoln Center. The chorus performs in front of tens of thousands of San Diegans every year, including sold-out shows. You have to get your tickets early at the historic Balboa Theater in downtown San Diego. Their official mission is to create a positive musical experience through exciting performances that engage audiences, and they truly do, build community support, and provide a dynamic force for social change. Without a doubt, they've succeeded many times over. This mission has become even more vital and important during the current pandemic, as the chorus looks to new ways to represent itself and be a healing force for the future. You know, I have to say, during every important moment in our history, in the state and in the country and in San Diego, as we have come a long way in San Diego in the last 25, 30 years, they've been a part of every important celebration. And even during the hard times where we've had to buck up and realize that our work was yet to be done, they have been an inspiration to us in song and in spirit. So please help me again invite back Jeff Heine of the Gay Men's Chorus to give acceptance remarks on behalf of the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus. It's really an honor. Jeff, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I just want to accept this honor on behalf of our artistic director, R.C. House, our board president, Jeffrey Roberts, our board and staff, and especially the singers of the chorus. Many of them have been with the chorus for well over 30 years and continue to be a part of this amazing group. It's a challenging time for us for many ways. I mean, we've been talking about this evening, the challenges that we all face as a community. And I think for us right now, the most frustrating part is the fact that the pandemic prevents us from singing like we would normally do. And the act of singing is considered risky behavior for transmitting of the virus. And we've almost had, in the past, we've almost had a virus try to silence us before. And we definitely are not going to let that happen again. And I feel it's a very challenging, but also exciting and optimistic time for us to revisit our mission and what we do and how we can best be out there and support the community through music and through more creative ways of expressing ourselves and being there to support the work that our community does and support the work that all of you do. And thank you so much for this honor.
Congratulations again, and let me have the honor of introducing, as stated early, our youngest but most energetic, get it all done Assembly Member, Sabrina Cervantes.
Thank you so much, Senator Pro Tem Atkins. It's so wonderful to be with each of you today. It is my absolute honor to be amongst just trailblazers and just individuals who are making huge strides in every part of our communities across the state of California. It is my honor now to introduce Tiffany Woods, who is a mother of 3, a wife, trans woman, longtime Bay Area LGBTQ community organizer, and recognized local, state, and national LGBTQI leader. She is the immediate past secretary of the LGBT caucus and the first transgender woman to be elected co-chair of the LGBT caucus in 2019. And an at-large Hillary Clinton delegate to the DNC in 2016. She is one of the first 3 trans delegates to ever attend the Democratic National Convention from California, and a member of the historic first ever transgender caucus. Tiffany has worked in HIV and trans health for 18 plus years, creating and implementing groundbreaking, innovative, nationally and internationally recognized trans services and programs. She currently works at the Department of Public Health, Office of AIDS HIV Prevention Branch, where she is the first transgender health specialist. In 2017, in honor of LGBT History Month, she was recognized by Representative Ro Khanna, California Congressional District 17, with a Congressional Citation of Honor, and the Bay Area Reporter recognized her as a Pride Changemaker. She has served as a trans liaison for the Oakland Police Department, an LGBT Police Academy diversity trainer, ensuring respectful community interactions, responses, and policies are implemented. She has been a Screen Actors Guild member since 1990, a background casting director, and associate producer, lead cast member of the award-winning 2010 documentary, Trans Francisco. Please help me in giving Tiffany Woods a very warm welcome as she accepts this distinct nomination as our honoree. Tiffany, I personally just want to say thank you for moving the needle. And I am also just a new mother of 3. I have triplets, and I am just so hopeful for the world that they are going to grow up in. And it's leaders like you in our community that give me so much hope. So I just wanted to personally say thank you for being a trailblazer and all the work that you have done and continue to do for the state of California and for our nation.
Oh, thank you so much, Assemblymember Cervantes. And I know I've had twin boys who are now 11, yes. So I know how you and your wife are doing, you're going through it. And so my heart goes out to you. And thank you for taking time out of, your family to be here and introduce me. Also want to say thank you so much to Speaker Pro Tem Atkins for selecting me and for taking time to meet with me and talking about some of the issues that are affecting our trans youth and our California trans community. I'm completely I'm listening to everybody here, and I'm familiar with some of the honorees, and I'm looking around how did I get here? Am I in the right room? So I stumble into a different Zoom. So I'm incredibly honored to be with all of you. And I'm going to make it really brief. We all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, all of our trans sisters and our ancestors. I stand on the shoulders of every trans and non-binary person that fought back at Compton's Cafeteria in San Francisco, at Stonewall. We know the names. We know names that have never been mentioned and we've lost to history. Every one of them got us all to here. And so I'm incredibly grateful for them. Really quickly, I want to thank my wife, Bridget, who allows me to do this work. And while she holds down the home, and my children who are like, what are you doing, mommy? My daughter's grown up at Pride events and marriage equality rallies since she was 5. So she's another budding activist. But I really want to use this moment to really talk about the LGBT caucus of the California Democratic Party for electing me as the first co-chair, trans woman co-chair. We are really working hard to remove the barriers of political engagement so that more trans and gender non-binary Californians can access the California Democratic Party so that their voices are heard at the table. As you know, if we're not at the table, then we're on the menu, and we need to be at the political table, at every single political table, at every single level in this country. As you know, we're being attacked by the Trump administration. We lost healthcare privileges. Thank God California has been the vanguard and the leader of legal protections for trans community and trans non-binary Americans here, Californians. But really what's really important, if you look back behind me, I really want to elevate our Black trans women, our Latina trans women, our Black and brown trans men, women, and gender non-binary community members. We need to elevate them at this moment in time. We need to be with them. We need to not say their names when they're dead. And pictures on a wall. We need to say their names while they're alive, and we need to right now center them in all of our conversations, our organizations, and not just LGBTQ organizations, but in every organization, and not just in trans services, but literally board of directors. We have amazing, brilliant trans leaders across this country that need to be at these tables and their seats, and we need to be listening to them and need them to have their platform. So I want to elevate them and implore us all to center them right now in this moment while we have a chance to reset Pride. So on that, I want them to have the last word. Thank you so much for this honor. I'm still trying to process it, but thank you. And hopefully we can do this in person next year and we get a rain check. But thank you. Happy Pride, everybody. Make it impactful and intentional.
Happy Pride. Congratulations once again, Tiffany. I'd like to now take it back to our chair, Senator Wiener.
Thank you, Assemblymember Cervantes. Wow, amazing awardees. So we're now down to our final award recipient, Mr. Brett Andrews, who is actually one of my neighbors in San Francisco, but I know him best because he is one of our absolutely top, most important nonprofit service provider leaders in San Francisco. For 17 years, since 2003, Brett has served as the Chief Executive Officer of PRC. It used to be known as Positive Resource Center. It has grown tremendously over the years under Brett's leadership as a premier service provider for people living with HIV, people struggling with substance use, mental health, and other challenges, providing job training and other services, and really being an absolutely critical part of the San Francisco safety net for our most vulnerable residents. PRC, under Brett's leadership, has saved countless lives. It has helped countless people who were down and out and wondering what their future was turn their lives around and get stabilized and get on a positive path towards success. It is just hard to also overstate Brett's leadership beyond PRC in terms of the work that happens at San Francisco City Hall around funding for our social safety net, around healthcare and other needs. When I was a member of the Board of Supervisors, I worked hand in glove with Brett every year to make sure that we were backfilling federal HIV cuts, to make sure that we were really having a robust response to the many, many needs of our most vulnerable residents. So Brett is just truly the best, and Brett, we love you, and it's my pleasure to honor you as part of this virtual Pride celebration. Brett.
He's muted.
You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say thank you, Senator Weiner, for that wonderful introduction. And he is right. We've worked hand in hand together at City Hall so often, year over year, to fight for HIV funds. He knew, I know it deep in his mind, he was like, oh God, here comes Brett. And I know he has his hand out to support those services, and I'm happy to be there with him. So again, it's just such a wonderful honor to receive the California Legislative LGBT Caucus honoree and award. And why is it meaningful? It's meaningful because when you think about the many acknowledgements and recognitions that we get throughout our lives, there are some that are a little more meaningful because you've walked the walk. You have the shared life experience of what that means. And we have one of many programs at PRC. We have a peer counseling program. And one of the most important counseling programs that we have is about a client who has gone through a journey, who can share that journey with another client. And they can look in each other's eyes and know that they can be on the other side of that. And so when I look at this beautiful tapestry of people and who you represent and what you represent, I know that you walked in my shoes in so many ways, and that you taking the time to acknowledge the work of PRC and my contributions with PRC and beyond is incredibly meaningful to me. So thank you so very much. Before I know we're over time, I just want to say a word about Black Lives Matter and where we are. Yes, I'm going to announce it on this, a soon to be 56-year-old Black man, gay man, proud as can be. And I am gratified and heartened and watchful over what is happening right now. I'm thrilled to see this mosaic of folks coming together and supporting Black Lives Matter. I'm thrilled and honored to know that, again, as I said in my taped remarks, that we are seeing ourselves more than just allies, but as fellow human beings ready to take up the charge of what it's going to take to once and for all address racism for what it is. And so as I leave you with Black Lives Matter, I want you to know that Black Lives Matter not because of just police brutality and police reform and historic racism. Black Lives Matter because once and for all, we're going to be able to go back and rewrite history and fill in some of those holes where African Americans and Blacks contributed to the United States, who stood shoulder to shoulder with white soldiers and fought for this country and its freedom. And inventions like the gas mask and the stoplight and the broom and the iron and the first open heart surgery, and of course, peanut butter and so many other inventions are because of Black lives. That's also why Black Lives Matter. And when we get to tell the fullness of our story, you will find a newfound value to our very, very presence being here in the United States. So again, I just want to say thank you so very much for this honor and this recognition. I'm so proud of everyone here. Congratulations to the other recipients this year. And I send happy pride to you. And AIDS Walk San Francisco, July 19th, AIDS Walk San Francisco.
Okay, thank you, Brett. So that wraps up our virtual Pride celebration. I want to congratulate again all the honorees. And Tanya, I'm sorry about your computer, but we love you and we really honor your amazing work. And Commissioner Lara has inspired me to watch VITA, so I'm going to watch it. But happy Pride, everyone. Thank you to the honorees and also to the members of the California LGBTQ caucus who work so hard every day for this community. We are not the biggest caucus, but we're a mighty caucus and we get the work done. Happy Pride, everyone.